Hi and welcome to episode 46 of Made in the podcast. My name is Fie and I'm coming to you as always from Denmark. I'll confess, I'd forgotten it was Thursday today. I was going around about my business and just thinking it was Wednesday, which doesn't make sense because yesterday was Wednesday, as we all know, and I did laundry yesterday, so of course Wednesday is laundry day, at least in my family. Let me just put down the remote. But yeah, it is Thursday. It's a bit later in the day than I'd like to record because, as I said, I forgot. And yeah, how you been? I hope you've been great. I am suffering a bit from, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I have a low, it's not, well, it is an iron deficiency. I think I mentioned it before. And I've been taking vitamin C supplements and iron supplements, and my blood levels have been fine. Everything was great, so I stripped back to just vitamin C supplements, and apparently, yeah, I need the extra iron. I think that's what we can all take from this. Also, and this is a knitting and sewing podcast, so we'll get to that, but I'd just like to mention that, well, Candace of the Pins and Feather? Pearls and Feather? I'm sorry. I watch your podcast, but she raised the interesting question of where are the Asians in the knitting community? Because, and she's right, and she got this from a different podcaster, a lot of podcasters are predominantly white females, at least in the knitting world. And Candace mentioning this made me think that, yeah, other than Candace, I don't think I follow any Asian knitters or podcasters. I follow a couple of Asian knitters on Instagram, but podcasters, no. And it's never been something I've really thought about, because to me, well, I am half Asian. I'm proud of the fact that I'm half Japanese. I do bring a lot of Japanese culture into my everyday life because that's just the way I was raised. I don't think of it as especially Japanese or especially Danish. It's what I do, and sometimes I still get the feeling that maybe Mickey Mouse is Santa Claus, because I grew up knowing that, to my cousins at least, my Japanese cousins, Mickey Mouse was the guy who came around Christmas Day to hand out presents. That's what they were taught when they were kids, because that's what happened. That's what they experienced. And really, might as well be Mickey Mouse. Could be Father Christmas. Who says it's not the same person? Anyway, but Candace bringing up this made me think back to my own history. My mom sewed when I was little. I've never seen her crochet, but she did crochet a lot of pink, really pink dresses for me when I was a baby. I have picture evidence, well, my parents did. And for me, I always think of crocheting when I think of Japanese fiber arts that isn't sewing or sewing related. Whereas I was taught to knit by my paternal grandmother, my Danish grandmother, who I incidentally share a name with, which will be even more fun in a little while. We'll get there. But yeah, she was the one who taught me to knit. The people in my knitting group are all white females. Not because it's not a diverse community, because it is. Especially where the flats that I live in. A lot of people who aren't Danish live here. But I never really thought about the way that in my mind, Asians, I grew up with a lot of predominantly Vietnamese women setting up their own little sewing shops in the town, well, the city near the town where I was from. And so sewing was always sort of the Japanese bit, or Asian bit, and knitting was always the Danish bit. And I don't know why that is, other than that's just how it was when I grew up, or what I saw. But of course, my paternal grandmother was a seamstress. Before she got married, that's how she earned her money. And while she was married, that's also how she sometimes earned money. So yeah, for me, sewing is for everyone, but knitting is predominantly white. It's the weird things we end up thinking about. But as I said, this is a knitting and sewing show. It's not about a show, like I'm putting on a show here. Hey, at least it's free. But yeah, I have been knitting, as you may see from what I'm wearing. This is my, let me just stand up for this and the next segment. This is the Snowflake jumper, I suppose you'd say, by Tin Can Knits, and it's supposed to have buttons here. It's supposed to be open here with buttons. I don't have buttons, but I do have my little friend who says beware of the unicorn, because you should always beware of the unicorns. This, I haven't clipped the ends because I washed it like yesterday and it has fluff on it from God knows where and thread. But yeah, I finished it yesterday. No, I washed it yesterday, so it's still a bit damp because it's humid here at the moment. We are forever promised thunderstorms and whatnot, but for the time being it's just humid. But yeah, I really like it. I can see how this will be something I'll wear a lot. It did stretch a bit in washing, but I don't mind. It's cute. Yeah. And this was knit out of Wollmeise Merino DK in the Petite Poison number 5. It's supposed to have a buttoned cuff, but I didn't want to. I mean, I didn't even put buttons on here yet, and I don't know if I will, because I'm not sure if it needs it. If I find the right buttons, perhaps. But yeah, it was supposed to have a buttoned cuff, but I didn't want to do that, so I just did a regular cuff. And yeah, but that's not all, because not only do I have a... Okay, this is not attractive, I know. Sorry about this. I'll just take this off and put it back here. Which is probably how it got its fluff, but yeah. I finished my Anna dress, and I think the fit is really nice. I feel like I have the lining poking up in the back. I don't know if that's true or if it's just me. I did modify this a bit. because the waist here was less than I wanted it to be. Now I have a bit of positive ease, whereas before it would have been really tight. I don't think it has taken anything off the fitted nature of this, but I added extra width here and in the sides, which gave me a pretty wide boat neck opening. And I think the next one, because there is a next one, it's right over there on the table. It hasn't gotten very far because although I like the pattern, the pattern too, I like the fabric, it's very lively. Another thing I changed was that I added pockets. And for the next one I'm just going to raise the pockets a bit because yeah, they're not really comfortable at the height they're in now. But I love this fabric. I've had this Liberty fabric in my stash for eons. And I really love the dress. Now, I mentioned earlier that my paternal grandmother and I have the same name. That's sort of true. Because I'm not called Fie. Fie is just the short version of my actual given name, which is Anna Sophie. Well, technically it's Anna Sophie Megumi. Because yes, I have a Japanese name as well. But my paternal grandmother was also Anna. And this is the Anna dress. So of course I had to have the Anna dress. It was meant to be. And yeah, other than taking out a bit here, well, just doing the original pattern here and adding the extra width to the sides instead, I'm going to make it exactly like this. I like the length, I like the look, I like the silhouette, everything about it really, especially with the added pockets. It's not so, these aren't so low that they aren't useful, but yeah, they could go up a couple of centimeters for a better fit. So yeah, oh, I also, this will be a short episode I think, because I haven't done a lot of, well, I've done a lot of things to finish stuff, which means I haven't really been working on things that weren't about to be finished. But if you follow me on Instagram, where I'm BundgaardF, which I always put down below, because I don't expect you to be able to spell that. I got my order from Loop, the knitting shop in London. Now, the ones of you who have been following me for a while remember that I was knitting the Morning Mist top. And I mentioned last week that, that the order was about to come in. When I went to, well, one of the 2 times I went to London last fall, I went to Loop. I actually think I went to Loop both times, I'm pretty sure I did. I didn't purchase anything the second time around because that was the day after the wedding, and I may have been a tiny bit tired, and I may have been already spent a lot of time in Ray Stitch in Islington, which if you are in London and you're able to go, do go visit. I've heard they have a new shop near the old one, but with a much better layout and possibly bigger. But really, it was lovely when I went, and I bought a lot of fabric. I bought some patterns as well. But after spending a couple of hours there, being up half the night the day before for the wedding, and just craving sushi from a really great sushi place that's right. It's right almost across from Loop. If you go, if you're coming from the station, just go past Loop and it's on your right hand side. It's a sushi place. It looks really small and dingy. And I think they preferred if you do your sushi as a takeaway, but they had really great takeaway. Well, takeaway sushi and other bento box like stuff. So do combine the two. But yeah, I didn't go to Loop at that time, but I had been there previously, and I was in the Shawl Society last year with Helen Stewart. I'm blanking on her designer name. Curious Handmade. Designer name, her Instagram name. And she's doing the Shawl Society again this year, but I have too many shawls. I really don't need to knit any more shawls, so I'm taking a break from shawls this year, or mostly. But when I went with Louisa to London, there had just been the clue out for what the next shawl would be, and it would be a 3-colour shawl where the suggested colour combination was 2 neutrals that fit and a pop of colour. And I ended up buying 2 lots of yarn for that shawl because I couldn't decide between what ended up being I think it's called the feather quill, which I had in 2 shades of a browny grey and an orange. I think all of it was from Malabrigo Rios. And I had my other option, which was from Eden Cottage Yarns, which was their Bowl and DK, which is a BFL. And these are 2 of the colours. The light one is steel and the dark one is charcoal. And I have been in love with the Morning Mist cardigan for a while. Cardigan, pullover, top, let's say top. And I thought it was really great with the green, which is hyssop, and the 2 greys. So I made a striped version. I knew I'd be short on yarn, but I was hoping that maybe I could just get it with the 3 skeins I had, 1 of each colour. I couldn't. It was so close though. But it's done now, and it hasn't been washed, it hasn't been blocked because I only finished it last night. But yeah, the yarn, when I ran out of yarn, I just went to the Loop website and they were out. And I contacted them and they were like, oh, it'll be a couple of months probably because Eden Cottage Yarns has had a problem getting the base. Well, they came in and I finished the top. As you can see, I didn't need a whole lot. Let me show you what I needed. This is the front. I have the interesting bit in the back. I didn't do as many repeats of the back as the pattern tells you to. I don't know if my gauge was just bigger or what. I don't know. But you have this at the back. And I'm really in love with the use of lace with plain stockinette in tops. I know that Just Run It, which is Megan Williams, she's from the Stockinette Zombies. She has a book out with a friend. I think they're calling the company or the design team Knit Cahoots. and in there she has a top that I've been craving since she first showed it on the show, which I'm starting to think was years ago. Probably it was just last year, but it feels like years. Sorry, I got something in my... So if I'm blinking excessively, that's why. I'm not trying to communicate anything to you. But yeah, she has one called, I think she calls it Bitch Please. Well, Beach Please, probably. Sorry about the swearing. And it's lace, yoke, but on both sides, and then stripes on under the bust, I think it is, or maybe just the body from the arms down. I don't remember. It's really cute. And I really want to knit that, so please get it on Ravelry soon for a digital download, as if she watches. But yeah, the front I opted for stripes, and the point where I ended up knitting yarn, yeah, down here. And as you can see, it's actually more prominent on the screen than it is in real life, or at least I hope so. There is some variation within the yarns themselves, but you can see where I added the new yarn. Yeah, that's this, as well as the tiny edges on the sleeves, or the arms and the neck, was all I needed of the light grey. I could have used a different colour, but since I already, plus I needed more of the dark grey, the charcoal. This also has a difference between the old skein and the new skein. It's not as obvious, but it is lighter. So both the new skeins are lighter than the old ones. And I'm sorry if you can hear thunder. We might be getting the thunder they promised us, who knows. Anyway, I don't care that it's lighter. It's already a striped top. There's already variegation within each individual stripe. It's a design feature, let's call it that. But it is just, should I try and put it on just for you? I like the fit of it. It's not as long currently as the snowflake by Tin Candid. That might change in the wash, who knows. Okay. This dress was not made for me to wear jumpers and toe of them. But yeah, there you go. And with the nice lace detail in the back. And I really like this color combination. I really like that it's striped. The original Morning Mist top is just it's one color for the lace and one color for the rest of it. I prefer this, I have to admit. Well, I have to convince everyone of that, because this is mine. This is my idea, this is what I thought would be nice. It may have been the result of necessity at first, but yeah, I really like it. Now, a lot of knitting has been going on, a lot of sewing has been going on, not least because I had to do the pocket side seams twice. Well, one pocket was done twice. So I only have one other project that I've been working on, and it's my, let me just lean over and grab. This is my, I've been eating biscuits apparently. This is from the Amimono Helgeisa the Artisan Patternberg, and it's the ivory top, the one in front. And on Instagram there's actually been a discussion this week about the Isère women. Oh, let me just, yeah. This is what my my ivory looks like at the moment. Last week I had just finished the ribbing. Oh, that's the wrong side, it's reverse stockinette. So I just finished the ribbing, and this week I added the bottom row of, let me just see if it's, yeah, of eyelets, and I've knit almost half of what I need for the body before not separating for the sleeves, because this is only the front, but before doing the edge, armhole edging and decreases. But yeah, I'm more than halfway for that. It gives you a measurement and a number of rows, and I'm more than halfway through it, and I think, let's see, 20, 40, 60, yeah, I'm more than halfway through that. And when I get to the point they tell me I should be at the right point, I'm going to measure it. I'm pretty much on target with gauge. Oh, sorry. Hope no one got too big of a surprise there. I should be pretty much on gauge row wise as well. I did add, well, I only just added the second skein, and part of my dupe parcel was extra 3mm chargu tips, because I only had one set, and currently I'm working on the ivory, which uses 3mm tips, and I have confetti, and I'm looking down because it's looking back at me going, so you couldn't even give me just one day, just a tiny bit of attention? Needy knitwear. Oh well, needy knitting projects. Honestly. Yeah. These are tiny needles, so it's a lot of work getting so far. Oh, and I did cast on the back and did a couple of rows of the ribbing, just because I could. Yeah. Hopefully, well, let's be realistic, I won't have the front done by next week. Part of that is because, and this is just a heads up, you're getting an episode this week, you're getting an episode on Wednesday, then I'm going to take 2 weeks off and come back to you the week of the 24th of July, so 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. Probably the 27th of July I'll be back with you. That's the plan. The reason I'm taking 2 weeks off is because I won't be in the flat. I'll be, my dad bought a boat, and I am going to be the ship's maid for 2 weeks. I'm not sure what that entails, other than bringing my camera and wearing my fancy new life jacket. Blue, of course, because someone likes blue. And yes, I was a diva and demanded that the rest of the life jackets on board were a different colour than blue. I can be a diva sometimes, because if someone is going to borrow my life jacket when I'm not on board, they should know they're special. Anyway, We're going to go sailing around southern Finland, and hopefully the weather will be better. And yes, I have suntan lotion and sun protection, and I'm going to bring it. Because, yeah, there's a stark contrast still. And you hopefully can't see it, but my arms are in different stages of peeling. It's all fun in this household. I did mention that there's been some talk on Instagram about the Isaiah women this week, and that's because Charlotte, who is Thislazylady, and who is mentioned almost every week. It's like she's the co-host who never appears. Yeah. Her mother is knitting one of the patterns from a different pattern book. It's the one about Ursula Jensen. It's the one that Maja Lisa has written, and I have the book. I'm still going to give you a review at some point. I'm still processing, because I have some misgivings. Or there are things about both her book and the artisan about the patterns that I'm not completely in love with. There are the issue, or what was mentioned in regards with the other pattern, is that Pile, which is the cover pattern, is an original pattern that hasn't been updated. That's what the book says. That's fine. As it is, Helga is the daughter, and I do not agree on, sorry for the movement, do not agree on what sizes people come in. The artisan book, which I have right here, oh, there it is. The artisan book, the patterns come in mostly 3 sizes, sometimes 4, but yeah, it's not very size inclusive. Small, medium, large, extra small, small, medium, large, small, medium, large, yeah. I know this about her. I can compensate. I know her mother and her do patterns that expect you to know, or at least have some basic idea of how you're going to knit anything. And they do use the phrase at the same time a lot. Well, Helga does. And that's fine. It just means that I have to be in the right mindset to knit anything by them. And it also means there's a lot of frustration on my part. The ivory, for example, has an upper bust measurement, well, not a bust measurement of 98.5 centimeters. This one, 98.5. And as you can see, it's not a snug fitting top on the model either. I don't think it's a secret that I'm not a 98.5 centimeters bust person. All of this loveliness takes up space. And that's fine. And it's fine that other people, as I said, Charlotte is the co-host who's never appeared. Which might be the title of this episode. I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying that even though she likes this dress has a lot of emphasis on the bust. So if you don't have a bust, it's made for a bigger bust, which she doesn't have. So when even though she likes it, this isn't really a pattern for her. And that's fine. There should be patterns for all sorts of people, because different things flatter different people, different things fit different people, fit in with what people want. Sorry. I'm not a fan of oversized garments. Although I do once in a while knit or sew oversized garments, I just don't make them as oversized as they probably should be. Other people love oversized garments, would never do a fitted garment. That's great. But with both the issue with the Israel women that was talked about this week was that Pile, it has the disclaimer that it's not an updated pattern, it's an original pattern. But looking at the gauge you're supposed to get and the recommended yarn, and this was brought up by Charlotte because her mother is knitting it and she thought it looked a bit small. I was wondering exactly how much are you supposed to stretch the lace. It's made up of lace panels, and it's supposed to be, the gauge is supposed to be really open if you use the recommended yarn, which she was. And we got to talking about, well, and not just her and me, but other people joined in as well, because a lot of us have the problem that we just don't fit into the ISEA sizes. And that's on top of the problem with wondering whether this pattern, Pile, was ever intended to be knitted up with the recommended yarn, or if it was originally knit with a different yarn. The book doesn't say. It doesn't say anything. It just says, this is the yarn we used. This is your gauge. Here's your pattern. It doesn't have a chart either, which annoys me a bit. But I can make my own. It's a simple lace. It's not something that really needs, well, it's not something that will make or break it whether there's a chart, because I really like it. So I'm planning on knitting it up, but in a thicker yarn. And that is a way to get around these garments being too small. But I do agree with the issue raised that it doesn't look like the yarn is as thick as the intended yarn was supposed to be. And that's an issue, because if you're going to do what they tell you and you use the same yarn, and you usually get gauge with their patterns, and it's not the first time. I mean, Charlotte has knit a million of these pieces. You should get a garment that's wearable, and the report on this is that's just not, and that's a problem, because they're both, well, they've been around the block a bit. This is not their first books. Why would you bring in a pattern? And I know why they want to bring in one of those patterns, but why would you bring it in and not care that, or maybe they do care, but it's just an oversight? I don't know. It just seems weird that not enough care has been taken to actually make sure that when you knit, if you knit this according to pattern, you will get this garment. It's just, yeah. So I'm still processing my thoughts on both books before I do the review for you, because I want to give you an honest review. If you're going to spend money on these books, you need to know what you're getting yourself into. And I'm still on the fence with a couple of things, so that's why nothing has happened yet. That's a lot of talk about nothing. But yeah. We still have one more episode before my little self-imposed holiday break. I don't know. That fabric there is driving me crazy. I've cut out 2 of the 4 skirt pattern pieces. I mean, the skirt is the most involved piece. The bodice is just, well, it's a front and 2 back pieces, but they cut at once. And then it's there's a lining in here, and that's 2 pattern pieces as well. So plus I'm doing pockets again, so that's another pattern piece. But still, getting the skirt done, getting that right, is the first challenge, and I'm halfway. Actually more, because one of those pattern pieces, that one actually has already, no, that one has already been drawn up, and I have a ton of pins in it to keep it from moving before I cut it, and I need to draw up trace the other one here, and then I have all the skirt pieces. But yeah, not loving the fabric. Loving the look of the fabric, not loving working with the fabric. It'll be great once it's finished, because I think it'll be a nice flowing garment or dress, which is great. That's what you want. But the process. I'm glad I did this one first, because I think if I did that one first, this one wouldn't have happened. I'm afraid that's the truth of it all. So yeah, I'm going to work on that. I need to work on my test knit. I really do. Crafting is fun. Crafting should always be fun. I'll see what I get done for Wednesday, and at any rate, I'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great week. Bye.